Roland Martin.
You probably say, come on, give me a break. Move on, guys.
It is 19 past the hour from Jackson, Mississippi. Roland Martin. Good morning to you, Roland. Happy early Thanksgiving, bro.
Yeah, family, guys. Certainly happy early Thanksgiving. And certainly hope everybody has a great one with their family. I am still in Jackson, Mississippi today. Of course, we've been covering the campaign of Mike Espy, and, of course, he is facing Cindy Hyde-Smith in a runoff on November 27th. That was a big debate last night. What she pretty much did was read notes the entire time. I thought she was about to break out green eggs and ham for a second.
And start crying.
The way she was reading her notes last night. Yeah. Of course, African Americans all across the state. Folks have been trying to rally folks to get out to vote for this election. Joining us right now is Reverend Dr. William J. Barber, of course, with the Poor People's Campaign, Repairs of the Breach, also national board member of the NAACP. Reverend Barber, you were in Biloxi last night, correct?
It sure was last night. Yes, we were.
And obviously, I saw some of the video, the folks who were there last night. I was, of course, they had a pastor's prayer luncheon yesterday with Dr. Jerry Young, National Baptist Convention leader, and I was there as well. And the pastors are mobilized to drive their members to the polls come Tuesday, 6 days away.
It is something really special happening here in Mississippi. And, I keep telling people, and you and I have had this conversation, that these so-called red states are not really red states anymore. They're voter suppression states, and sometimes the lack of voter get-out states. And if we organize and work, we can see some change. Last night in Biloxi, we had a church packed, black, white, Latino, all coming together on Martin Luther King Boulevard, something that is just unique here in Mississippi. You had a host of clergy. We had thousands of people online. And we talked and we said to people, really, this is not even about voting Republican or Democrat. This is about voting your values, voting your principles. You got over 300,000 people in Mississippi that do not have health insurance. Mm-hmm. The question you have to ask, and people need to say, which one of these candidates is concerned about health insurance, and which one is going to make sure that happens? You have nearly, a million, over 1.2 million people who live in poverty. The question is, which one of these candidates is going to deal with those issues and look at those and where we stand in those things? And then lastly, Mississippi has 35%, I think, Roland, of the voting population is African American, over 800,000 people. In the last midterm election, the Republicans that won by only 125,000 votes, and only 29% of Mississippians voted. So the margin of victory, 29% of black folk, I think about 20% of black folk voted. That means about 600,000 African Americans didn't vote, and he only won by 125,000 votes. We have the power here in this southern state to change, to make a difference here.
But this is what you have to deal with, and that is, it is a mindset. Yesterday, I interviewed actress Anjanou Ellis, who lives in Macomb, Mississippi, and she said, what we have here, she said, we have, it was just drummed into the heads of people, the idea of low expectations. And I've talked to black folks they've said, Mike Espy, he can't win, he has no shot. And I said, if you just, to your point, if you just look at the numbers, if black folks vote their power, mm-hmm. and he picks up just 20% of the white vote, he is sworn in as United States Senator in January.
Exactly. And it's real. And listen, it happened before. Remember, the first black senator in the United States Senate after the Civil War came out of Mississippi, Hiram Revels. He took over the seat that Jefferson Davis had. I mean, so you can go back as far as 1800 and see what is possible. And now you have this situation where you have 2.2 million people in Mississippi that are eligible to vote. Now, only about 1.2, 1.3 million of those folk actually are registered. But you're exactly right. If black people just voted at, say, 60%, and you picked up a progressive vote of white people and Latinos, you in fact can change Mississippi. And we have to remember that, Tom and Roland, as we even talk about it and help people get out of that mindset. There's a study that says if you register 30% of unregistered African Americans in the southern states and connect those people with whites and Latinos that are progressive, North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, and Texas are ready to turn. And if we engage in that way, we change the whole political calculus. So the fact of the matter is, just like white supremacists and others had a Southern strategy that they started in '68, we need to have a Southern strategy from 2018 forward. And that's where the power really is. The transformational power in this country is in the South if we organize it and change the mindset.
There was a debate last night between the two, and pretty much what Cindy Hyde-Smith did was read from a sheet of paper. First of all, they held at the Mississippi Farm Bureau, where the top board members had already given to her campaign. Her campaign did not want a studio audience. Mike Espy's audience did. They said, look, we'll give you a notepad on the desk. They said, well, no, we want to have a notepad an hour before the debate. She walked in there damn near with a binder. And was reading the whole time, and I was just hoping one time Mike Espy would say, "I'd appreciate if you actually give an answer without looking down."
I feel you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exactly what she wants Mississippi to look down. Espy is trying to get people to look up, and the people down here need to look up and go to the polls and vote and make a change that will be heard around the country and around the world. It can happen right here in Mississippi.
Come on, Mississippi.
Jackson, Mississippi. Reverend Barber will be in Jackson today. I'm headed out, but folks, do your part. Vote November 27th. No excuses. Reverend Barber, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Barber. Appreciate the discussion. Roland, you have a great Thanksgiving. Dr. Barber, great Thanksgiving wish out to you too, sir.